Andrea, solid win is a horse you're going to ride in race number 6 on the weekend. He's only very lightly raced, but he looks to be getting there with every run, doesn't he?
Correct, yeah, he only had 2 runs last season, and his comeback run was a very good run. He's still a little bit immature, but he hit the line quite nicely. Still a little bit green under pressure, and but he's come out of the race really well. I actually sat on him 2 days ago, and he's well, he's fresh, physically he's done well, so yeah, he's ready to go again.
Just going back and having a look at that race last time, he made you earn your fee, didn't he? Because he was sort of off the bit quite early, and he's found for you all the way to the line.
Correct, but I think that comes down to experience, really. Like you said, he's very lightly raced. He's only having his 4th start on Sunday, so that's just down to experience, really. He seems to now, with that run, he's come on quite nicely. I don't think the penny has quite dropped yet, but I think once the penny drops, I think he'll be a nice horse.
And I guess to some degree, going through his trials form, I mean, it probably wasn't a great surprise because he did trial quite well before his return, didn't he?
Correct. So yeah, even his 2 runs last season weren't bad runs at all. He was probably a little bit weak, and he's, like I said, he's definitely got stronger. His trials were good, and it's a very good comeback run, and he's improved on it.
I must ask you about gate 10, never ideal. Too much of an inconvenience for him, or how do you think that will work out?
Well, it's never ideal when you're drawn in 10. He's a horse that ideally needs a little bit of cover, you know, and he's a horse that, like you said, watching his last run, he was a little bit green around the bend, so he probably needs a little bit of help, get around the corner, and up the straight, he seemed pretty straightforward. But yeah, listen, he'd always like to be drawn a little bit lower, but we're drawn 10, we've got to deal with it, and but like I said, hopefully we can get a nice spot somewhere midfield, and he'll be finishing strong.
He's a Star Spangled Banner, Andrea. So too is John Begg Banner. Just to ask you about his win at the weekend. I mean, if he's got the same attitude as him going forward, you won't be too disappointed, because he's as tough as teak, that horse, isn't he? Very
tough, and obviously his first run he's always run well fresh, and the 1400 is his perfect trip. Unfortunately, there's not that many 1400 races for him, but I think the next one is in about a month's time. But yeah, no, he's a very tough horse, and like going into the race, it was a very, very competitive handicap, and but like I said, it's looking at it didn't look like there was going to be a lot of pace in the race, so I knew I was always going to be able to dictate, but you never know later on. Obviously those sort of horses sometimes can be a little bit vulnerable, but he's tough, he dug deep, and yeah, no, he's a horse that hopefully we can have a bit more fun this season.
Zach, Fast Network looks a plum ride for you coming up this weekend. Of course, 2 from 2 in Class 4, and couldn't really have been more impressive last time.
He's done a good job. You know, he sort of struggles a little bit sometimes to get his rhythm out of the gate early, and he copped a little bit of a squeeze there last time. But after he went a few strides, he'd gathered himself, got balanced, and from then on he travelled really nicely. And it was just a matter of, you know, waiting for the right time to ask him for his effort. And he's been a bit soft on the line in both his wins, so hopefully when the time comes and he's got to find a little bit more, he's got it there.
I guess finding that little bit more could be this time around. He's up into Class 3. I guess there is all that potential, isn't there, that he will take this step forward?
Well, we hope so. He's unexposed, he's lightly raced, he's a big horse that you would like to think would derive benefit from an outing, and he just continues to work well, so yeah.
Always nice to see the form take a bit of a boost. Obviously, Chevelle Valiant win and 1 next time, so on paper it certainly looks very strong.
Oh, he's a pretty good yardstick for the Class 4,000 metre races, isn't he? He runs his honest race every time, and if nothing's there to run him down, he gets his chance, and if there's something there with a little bit of upside there, he quite often has to run 2nd or 3rd, but you know, he's always good to have in the races because you know what you're going to get.
Just quickly, the combination, of course, with Dennis Yip, that's always been a fruitful one, a winner at the meeting just gone. I must ask you, have you had a chance to sit on Massive Sovereign yet?
I galloped him a few weeks back. He's only early in his prep. He's going to trial, I think, at the Valley coming up. And then I think he plans to run early November in the Group 3 1800.
Zach, race 9, DIVANO is your ride. First start for the new season. You've only had one sit on him on race conditions, and that was a winning one. Nice horse to get back on board.
He is. There's a little bit more upside there with him. He has been a little bit better in the barriers as well, standing better. That was always his problem. He'd want to sit down and throw himself around, but he is standing a little bit better. Not beginning a lot better, but I think that'll come. He just seems to be handling things more comfortably this season, but you know, it was nice to see him in his trials, being in behind a few horses and still find the line. So he's not going to be a one-trick pony, and last season, he always felt like he was nowhere near where the finished product. So hopefully he can just go on with it this year.
Yeah, I think, well, in part you've sort of answered the next question for me, but just having a look at those trials, obviously yourself and Francis, perhaps by design, have been a bit more patient with him when he has one he's made, or is that just a case of teaching him something?
Well, when they're slow out the gates, you probably don't have much of an option, right? You get beat for speed, but that's the beauty about the trials, is you don't have to be forced into riding them in any manner. You can just allow them to try and deal with different situations, and being in behind him, I think, is just part of his learning process.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, the time he ran last, you weren't on him. You had to ride the winner, of course, bottom up together. But had a look back at the time that you did ride him, the 2nd to the 7th, all won, either next time or 2 starts after. So, rock solid form.
It was good form at that time. It was a handy field, and he got away with that race with the cheap sectionals he got in front and sort of pinched it. But yeah, you always like to see the form out of the races stack up.
David Eustace, good, decent start to the training career. More on that in a moment. But you've got Apache Pass lining up in race 10. Fascinating old 8-year-old. I imagine you probably said to the Leo Racing Syndicate that you're going to have him ready early because you've given him 3 trials.
Yeah, look, this race was, the obvious race for him. He's right down the weights. He likes the dirt. He raced pretty consistently last year. I thought he's probably been unlucky not to get his head in front last couple of seasons, really. He tries hard. So hopefully I've, reinvigorated him to a point. I hope the race would come up a little bit weaker than it has, but at least he has got dirt form.
Exactly that. I mean, what you've got in your favour is obviously a lot of those sort of decent types of horses that you mentioned. I mean, some of them have never even set foot on this surface, so a complete unknown for them. But your guy certainly handles it well.
Yeah, that's right. He's drawn a gate, so it'll be positive from there where he quite ends up. I'll leave that to Andrea, but hopefully he's in the first half dozen at least, and yeah, he's fit and forward and ready to go.
I guess now at the stage he's at, David, I mean, he's an 8-year-old. You've changed a few things around with him. The cheek pieces are going on, the tongue tie is going on. I guess you lose nothing for trying with a horse like him, do you?
Yeah, that's right. He has had cheek pieces on in the past. I just thought he sometimes could just overdo it a touch. Maybe sort of just mid-race at times, and the cheek pieces might be a little bit softer, and he'll just travel nice without doing it. But as you say, he's an older horse, going to change a little bit around, but not too much. He hasn't done a whole lot wrong.
I know these older horses do need a lot to go right for them at this sort of stage, but I mean, he's only a couple of pounds higher than his last win. He's been placed off marks as high as 90, so there's certainly a bit going for him. Yeah,
the other thing I'm keen to do is get him back on the grass as well. He trialled nicely on the grass at Chung Fa, and I do think he enjoys training on it anyway. So at some stage he'll have a spin on the grass too.
That's Apache Pass, just going back a few days to Jumbo Fortune. There must have been a little bit of excitement in the camp when he loomed up, but he's gone close but no cigar, but a very good run.
Yeah, look, he ran great. He probably, went well enough to win, but didn't get, quite enough luck, albeit the winner was impressive and well on top of the line, but obviously very pleasing just to see him run well. I thought he was going very well going into it, so it gives you plenty of confidence that he ran through the line, and with a bit of even luck at some stage, I'm sure he'll get his head in front.